What's up, everyone? Back to talking about more books, more books, more books, because that's what I do. I just read, watch anime, train, read more books, think about books, talk to people about books. And it's just a life filled with books, honestly. Is that sad? I don't think so. I like it. So, we are going to speak about a book by a man named Drew Hayes, and he created this apparently a series. But I'm only going to be talking about book 10 of Superpowers. And I gotta say, people, I have never been more disappointed by a book than I have been with this freaking book. Now, it's my second book series with people who are heroes, superpowered. First being the meta series, which I may talk about one day. It wasn't that bad of a series. I actually quite enjoyed it. But Superpowers had a premise that I really, really liked. And what's happening in Superpowers is supposedly now everyone or most people in the world have, to one degree or another, accepted the fact that there are people with abilities, with superpowers. This started, not really sure how long ago, but maybe about less than a century. They think people realize there are people with superpowers. And alongside these people who are known as supers, we have people who are called powered. Now, powered are people who develop abilities but have no control. Regardless of what they try, no matter how much they train, they cannot get control of their abilities. For example, someone can teleport, but they cannot do it on their own. No matter what they do, they can't make themselves teleport. But every time they sneeze, they teleport somewhere, which is pretty amusing, except that could be horrendous in some instances if you think about it. And so people have come to think of powered sort of as lesser. They're these people who can cause so much havoc and disaster and danger everywhere because they have no control over these abilities. It's also sort of, they're kind of looked down upon by supers as people who deliberately can't get their shit together, can't get stuff out of control, under control. So it's this weird dynamic where you see this. And our five main characters, five, which is, I will be very honest right off the bat, way too many characters to introduce right off the bat in the way that they're introduced. They are these five powers who are supposedly put through a program, a training, which allows them to suddenly become supers. They can now control their abilities. And they are sent over to this university, Lander University, where they will be taking the hero certification program and hopefully becoming heroes, which is pretty cool. It's a nice concept. Okay, they were powers, they couldn't control shit. Now they got it under control. How are they going to develop? They're only 18 years old. Let's see where this goes. And there's hints, there's foreshadowings throughout the novel that something bigger is going on. Who is this company who helped these powers become supers? Why are they doing it? Why is it being hidden from the community of supers at large and the other kids at school? Um, there's other little hints that maybe there's some really bad thing or baddies happening outside somewhere who might eventually become the enemies of these powers. So you get these little hints and teases, but overall the novel is more of a teens going at university and partying and drinking and learning to come out of their shells, which is not so bad. Like, I made it, I'll be honest, I didn't finish this book. I got to 90% of the book. I got to right near the end, and maybe something fantastic happens at the end, and maybe people will hate me for this, but I just couldn't do it anymore because as soon as I got near the end of this book and I saw, oh, okay, some shit, there's a twist happening, there's some shit going down, I was just so annoyed by the fact that it literally took an entire book before one twist happens. Before, just 95% of this book was teens being idiots and everyone pretending that they're not who they are. It was just so much lies and deception for nothing. Things it just fell through. There was no action. There was no real consequences for things. There was no build-up really in character development. Almost all the characters stayed stagnant the entire way. Uh, I didn't really see any, even if somehow the twist at the end becomes something that's so magnificent and book 2 just completely changes everything. I'm just so annoyed that the author took the time to basically create a teeny bopper series for 90% of the book before anything started happening, that I just don't give a shit anymore. Maybe to be fair, I will come back and finish that last little bit, and then book 2 will be something that knocks my socks off of. But even if the twist at the end of book 1 has consequence, the whole rest of the book is so shit that I did not like any of the main characters. None of them were interesting. Even our main sort of main character, Vince, who has the ability to absorb pretty much almost most forms of energy and then utilize that energy, store it, and then shoot fireballs or control electricity. He is so dull of a character. He's goody two shoes, but in a way that's it's dull. It makes him look kind of stupid. Our two other characters who are sort of portrayed as being the leaders, Nick, who can like literally manipulate the probabilities of luck, and Mary, who's a telepath and a very strong telekinetic. They're kind of dull also. Nick doesn't change in the slightest throughout the first book. Just and he's pretending the whole time to be who he's not, so it makes him even less interesting to me. I don't know. I can't do it. It was too many. I don't even want to say there was 5 points of view, because most of the writing is done sort of in a group setting where they're all kind of talking together. So you don't really get to know much of anyone except for maybe 2 characters. But even then, they don't really change much at all. So from a purely character development standpoint, this novel is shit. From an action standpoint, there's a few little scenes of fighting, but they're not really developed much at all, so you don't really care that much. I got nothing. From a plot perspective, nothing happens the entire book. Even if there is that little twist at the end, because nothing happened for the entire book, who the hell gives a shit? Nothing happened except them getting drunk and partying and some people hooking up. I might as well have just watched a teen movie or something. It was strange. Very, very strange. Very, very disappointing. I don't even know what else to say. I'm just gonna rage on this too much. Maybe it's because I enjoyed meta to such a degree. Like there was such a, even though it was not that well written, meta at least had some interesting twist to it and some development as the years went along. This series just didn't see, this book, I don't want to say the series, this book didn't know what the hell it was doing as far as I'm concerned. So, yeah, 6 on 10. 6 on 10 because it still managed to keep me kind of pushing through it almost to the end, because it left enough little interesting tidbits that I'm like, okay, maybe, but at the end of the day, I just got too annoyed with it, and I'm leaving it at 90%. So it's getting a 6 on 10. If you disagree, let me know down below. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know everything you are thinking. I'm curious. And, of course, check out the website, geektales.ca. And, yeah, thanks for listening. Ciao.